You're live. Hopefully. Hello friends, I hope this finds you incredibly well. I'm Chris Thrall, I'm a former Royal Marines Commando, and most of you will better know me for the Bought the T-Shirt podcast. Tonight I thought I'd do something a bit different. In fact, I think it's the second reaction video I've done. I'm going to explain why I'm doing it in a moment, but could we first get a comms check, please? Can you see me and hear me? Just checking in the chat. You can see and hear. Thank you, Drizzy. That's really kind of you. As you probably gathered, bootnecks, i.e. Marines, and technology, not a good mix. So apologies that we're a wee bit late, but we got there in the end. So yeah, the reaction video. I've been asked to do this. Oh, bear with me. I've been asked to do these sort of videos quite a lot, and I've been tempted. Sorry, just checking that we're on YouTube, and we seem to be. Yeah, and I'm a bit cautious about doing this sort of thing. As some of you know, I'm anti-war, and I'm very sort of conscious when you do this sort of thing that if young people are going to watch me on YouTube, you need to know that war is not glamorous. It's not that heroic thing that probably the vast majority of you, I'm going to suggest, probably think it is. It's incredibly vicious. It scars many people that are forced to take part physically and mentally, and of course a lot of people don't come back. That's people with families, fathers with children, mothers with kids. So I kind of do these things a little bit as an outsider looking in, making observations, rather than trying to sell people on the military. Obviously very special day today. It's the September the 11th memorial. Some of you would have seen my podcast today. I podcasted with Willie Rodriguez. He's was the last person to get out of the Twin Towers alive before they collapsed. I won't tell you much more about Willie's story because you can see it in the podcast, but one thing Willie will tell you is the first explosions came from the basement, right? So you immediately know there that someone's not been telling you the truth. And when you look back at war, what you start to find out is it's not this thing about good versus evil that we're all brainwashed by Hollywood and by our education to believe. That it's for the most part actually a game that's played by sociopathic elite little men, shall we say, people born into incredibly rich families and rich backgrounds that have got nothing better to do with their time than play countries off against each other, fund both sides, and then reap in the massive profits. And it's not until people can do what I've done, which is spent 20 years educating myself about what it's all about, that you can start to see the bigger picture, and that we can hopefully build a better future for our children that doesn't involve every 10 years sending them off to an illegal conflict where, as I said, many will get injured or die or carry the scars of PTSD and the trauma for the rest of their lives. So anyway, that being said, weren't here for an overview of what war is and what war isn't. I'll tell you about this film tonight and why I've decided to react to it. And I can tell you now, we're going to get demonetized for it because it's owned by one of the big companies. So if you've got a couple of quid to chuck in the chat, it just means that we can do this thing more often, because this has already taken an hour and a half to set up, and now I'm going to probably sit here for the best part of an hour. So yeah, I just ask you to bear that in mind when you use copyright material, which this video is. The copyright holder will claim the content and they will take all the money for it. It's just the way it is. Anyway, there I am last weekend. My motorbike, or two members of my motorcycle club, came to stay with me in the southwest of England. Anton, my dear brother, who is the president, said, "Chris, have you ever seen this film? It's called Ninth Company. You really should see it." In Russian it's called, I don't know how you say 9, so someone put 9 in Russian in the chat, but let's say 9 Rota, right? Ninth Company. And it's based on a true story about an incredible battle that took place on what the Russians would have referred to as an elevation, because it was in Afghanistan, pretty rustic. Not a lot of technology there, not a lot of geographical kind of input, so they called these mountains elevations, right? And they just gave them a number, so this was like 1337 elevation, right? And this battle took place up there, and it was by the Russians who had, I don't know if you say they invaded Afghanistan or they were occupying Afghanistan at the time. Someone will have to, again, put in the comments, when was the Soviet-Afghan conflict? It was, back in the 80s, I believe. It used to always be on the television news when I was a child. Not that you can really believe much on the news, but they'd have been hard pushed to cover up a whole conflict like that, because it went on for ages. So Anta said, watch this film, and we watched it, and I was blown away. It really is, if you're going to watch a film that covers all the areas of war, not just the tactical and the fighting side and the training, but also the human side. And I thought, yeah, do you know what? This is worth doing a reaction video to. So, just have a quick hello to everybody. Excuse me, drinking tea. Just to say hello to everyone in the chat. Brooke, you're very kind, mate. Thank you for your £5. That will make a difference. Really, really appreciate it. Just going to double check that my Wi-Fi is on, as well as my hardwire. For some reason it seems to give you better coverage. So yeah, if at any time we get any technical problems, put it in the chat so I know what's happening, and let's go for it, shall we? So this is Ninth Company. Okay, let's start off. Let's just have a look at the flyer for it, or the poster. Pretty dramatic, isn't it? It's yeah, it's quite incredible what graphic designers can come up with these days. But this guy that you see featured on it plays quite a seminal role in the film, and he's a stunning actor. And yeah, if there ever were heroes, I'm not a big fan of calling military people heroes, because, you know, to me it was just a job, and quite a well-paid job as well. But if there ever was a hero, it's this dude here. No, it's not. They're all, I should say, they're all Russian actors, or at least to my knowledge they are. They're all were unacknowledged at the time, and many of them have gone on for sort of starring roles. So Tony, thank you my mate. £2 from Tony, wonderful. Okay, let's have a look at some films, shall we? So here we are at the start.
Не плачь, пожалуйста. Только 2 года, всего лишь 2 года.
Я! Шугайна! Шугайна! Я!
Ну все, иди.
Спокойно есть! Несут его! Несут! Вон он! Иди спокойно! Враги не пройдут! Отойди! Отойди с него!
Yeah, I'm not sure. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm not sure how much of this I should play without getting in trouble with the copyright, but I guess we just got to go for it. So yeah, here we have the start. Quite poignant, really, because this is the naivety of war, isn't it? It's these young men. They're all going to sign up because they want to go and fight for the freedom of their country. Of course, as I said earlier, behind the scenes there's a whole lot more going on. There's people selling the bombs, the bullets, the guns, selling them to both sides of the conflict. Remember, the same people. Some of you know will know the Bush family did that in the Second World War. They're all signing up thinking I won't be the one that gets killed, or I won't be the one that gets injured, and it's all going to be a bit of a tea party. And yeah, well, I think they're going to find they're going to find it's very different. Thank you, the digger. Can you guys hear me all right? So this is the beginning. Let's go forward a bit because it's haircut time. Here's our dude, our hero. His name, I'm going to just have a look on... just have a look in my notes. Is he called Lutya or something? Let's have a look. Lutil. Lutil. I've probably got that wrong, but hey ho. Yeah, we've all been through this. Anyone who's signed up, I don't know how it is. I don't think they're so vicious with the women. Well, they probably are if they join the Marines, but.
Тебе-то уже все равно, а? А мне в город ходить, дискотеки, девчонки, ну сам понимаешь, да?
Да, ништяк устроился.
Не то слово. Служба, сладкий сон, просыпаться не хочется.
So, this guy, the hairdresser, is trying to be all friendly to him, the old sweat, you know, telling him what he's letting himself in for. And in Lutil's mind, he's just like, you've just cut all my hair off. And just fast forward a bit. Again, apologies, folks. I can't just play you all of it. It's obviously not my video, but I can comment on it. I can comment on it for fair use, right?
Спокойно, сынок! Спокойно! Кто там в устане протягивает решение? Помни!
His gold tooth really sets him up as a bit of a gangster, doesn't it? So would you do that in the Royal Marines? Turn around and beat up the the civilian, actually in the Marines it's a civilian, would you turn around and beat up the hairdresser? You'd be out the Marine, you'd be out the Corps quicker than you can say that. But they're just showing you that this guy obviously comes from a tough background, and it's very often the guys from a rough background in life that just won't take any shit from anyone, you know. People like John Lennon, real kind of visionaries and leaders that these guys become, because their tough experiences make them question life. When the more you question the life, you more you want to explore it. The more knowledge you gain, right? So this is their haircut. They're now going to meet their what in the Marines would be a drill instructor. In this, I guess it's some sort of sergeant. Bear with me. I can't read my own writing. Ah, check out this scenery. Look at that. Thank you, Kev. Nice one, brother. Guys, can you hear me if I talk while the video is playing? Could you let me know? Again, apologies, as is down here as a drill sergeant, so I was right. In the subtitles, according to my brother Anton, they refer to him as a lieutenant, and that's obviously whoever was doing the subtitles has got his English a bit messed up. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, it's that icy. I haven't got my glasses on. But isn't it stunning? And isn't it incredible, this 1080p, this Blu-ray quality video these days? It's really is come on a long way from the black and white television set that we had when we were kids. And it's that little square TV, right? But yeah, what an amazing country. And it's a country that has just been plagued by foreign war. I mean, the Soviets are there, right? The United States and its allies has been there, what, for the last 20 years. These men are natural fighters. We're gonna come on and see them towards the end of the film, right? But they're not so much a kind of good shot with the with the Kalashnikov. They're more of a kind of put it on automatic and spray, but you've got to give the fighters from this region credit. They're incredibly fierce fighters. They are brave. They have no fear of dying. Of course, if you believe in Islam or you follow the Islamic faith, you believe if you die, you're going to become a martyr anyway. If you die killing the infidel, which is the foreign invader, you're going to go to heaven and you're going to get your virgins. But yeah, it's not taking anything away from them. This country has been held back, you can say. It's riddled with landmines. If you ever want to think of the... what's the word? The epitome of evil, it's people who can sell landmines, knowing that for the most part it will be children that eventually set them off. Right, let's move on to this drill sergeant, shall we? Here he is. Here's our boy, and check out this for a berry.
Смирно! Я думаю, слепых здесь нет. Вон та гора наша. Следующая за ней Афган. И чтобы те из вас, кто попадет туда, не сдохли в первый же день. Я буду драть вас 3 месяца подряд, не вынимая.
So yeah, never seen a berry worn like that before. Not sure if that's a Soviet thing or just this dude's thing. And that scar on his face I'm guessing he's either really bad at shaving, or this is a subtle hint that this is a dude that's been in combat, most likely in Afghanistan, right? Not a guy you want to fuck with, and ultimately it's guys like this in the military that are going to keep you alive. Their knowledge and their skill set and their ability to pass that on to you is second to none. Right.
24 часа в сутки.
Oh,
Громче! Да, точно! Всем РД под завязку.
Товарищ прапорщик, а первое отделение налегке бегает.
Девочки свои налегке в
just a little tip if you do join up, fellas. Don't fill your backpack with rocks. You're not going to find much use for them unless you're really good at throwing them at the enemy.
кусты гулять будете. А здесь чем больше боезапасов взял, тем больше шансов живым вернуться. Задача. Выбить про...
So no Kevlar in this day and age. I think it was probably just being designed or just coming in, and maybe the Americans had it. I think they were the first to have Kevlar. You know, this very lightweight, bulletproof. Hey Ryan, Gendic Commando. Congratulations on how well your channel is doing, brother. So yeah, what was I saying? Kevlar. Yeah, these guys, we call them piss pots. The only thing they're really good for is stopping debris raining down on your head. They're obviously not going to stop a bullet. They're probably going to get blown straight off if you get hit by a blast. These guys over at the back, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but can you see them climbing up the scree, the rock scree? What could they be doing, do you think? Somebody put it in the chat. Yes, it does. Very desert-like. I think they're just doing their build-up here, right? So they're probably, I'm guessing, either in a safe area in Afghanistan, or they're more likely, let me have a look at the map, they're more likely on the border, somewhere like, I don't know, let's just say randomly Tajikistan or whatever, doing their build-up. Anton did tell me, but too many punches to the head over the years. So there they are doing their training. Let's have a fast forward. Again, guys, I'm going to keep saying I'm sorry for having to fast forward. It's just we can't afford to get the channel in trouble, right?
И других не будет, урод!
Ребят, ну не надо.
А ты заткнись, пернатый, бабу понюхай сначала, потом голос подашь.
Чего тихо?
Ты не трогай моих, не лезь к моим, понял? Я к твоим лезть не буду.
So this is the kind of bonding, isn't it? What do groups go through? Groups go through forming, that's getting together, storming, which is you're arguing, you're infighting while everyone establishes their personality and either their dominance or what you call the grey man. That's the person that just wants to stand at the back and not say an awful lot and just watch what's going on. At this stage, and this will be for anyone joining the Marines, this is most of the way through your training, because you're under such pressure to perform. You get a lot of you can get a lot of infighting. Someone's welcome to tell me they went through training, they had none. I'm sure there's been many, but I can only obviously tell you my experience. So you have forming, storming, then you have norming, which is you coming together as a team, and then you have performing, which is when you're on the ball, in this case obviously in combat, working as one single unit. And then you have reforming, which is what us old guys do. Thank you very much, Ian. Best podcast on YouTube. Yes, mate, I think we're the fastest growing as well, and that's thanks to you guys, so I can't thank you enough for that. So yeah, you have reforming. That's your 30-year reunion that when you're 18 years old, you never can believe that you're ever going to take part of, right? So let's get some women on the go, shall we? If I was watching a female service film, I'd be saying let's get some guys on the go. But we're not. Just boys in this one. There you go. Interesting thing. In the Marines, probably the Navy as well, because obviously the Marines is part of the Navy, but definitely the Marines, it's one of the few services where it's absolutely taboo to shave with your shirt on. They call it being crabby, i.e. being dirty, right? It's not that you ever would shave with your shirt on, but occasionally in training somebody forgets or they're in a rush. They're still in that civilian mindset where mummy's been looking after them for, 16, 17, 18, sometimes probably 30 years, right? Or what is it? You can join up now, 28 or something. So occasionally someone kind of thinks they can get away with it, and you don't want to get caught. And it's not difficult to work out why. If you try and shave with your shirt on, you're just going to get shaving foam and little bits of hair all over it. All the stuff you don't want on parade, right? I'll take all the questions at the end, guys. Thanks. If you want to write them in capitals, it just makes it really a lot easier to see. So come on, where's our girls? Oh. There we are. That naughty man. Was he just hitting him? I'm going to report this. I'm going to report this to Putin. That's what I'm going to do. That is out of order. Yeah, they're all having a bit of a beasting, aren't they? They've got them to beast each other. And I wonder why that is. Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? When they get to Afghanistan, they're going to have the fuck smashed out of them. Some of them won't come back. In these boys' case, I think you probably guessed already, not many of them are going to come back, right? So when you see this, it's not the training teams being overtly cruel. It's more instilling in you the vicious nature of war, and that if you can't get in there and mix it up, then yeah, your outcome is not going to be good. You imagine when you hear the shout, right, the order, and my friend, one of my best friends in the Marines, had to give it on the Al-Faw Peninsula in Iraq, when one section of Royal Marines took on 171 Fedayeen guerrilla fighters, and my buddy had to give the order, fix bayonets, right? Just imagine that. You're fixing, but you're only doing that for one reason, aren't you? Is to kill the enemy before he kills you. Yeah, serious stuff. Where's the girls? I will find you one, I promise. And she's quite pretty. Oh, I think she's made an appearance. There we go. I think this is Snow White. Oh, I've lost her again. Hang on. 1626. Hang on, let's go back. We all know what they're looking at, don't we? Dirty perverts.
Эй! Ходи сюда!
Белоснежка! Иди сюда! Сюда иди!
Иди к нам, не бойся!
Иди!
If I was their mothers, I'd be washing their mouth out with soapy water. But quite funny she's riding a bike, because I think the euphemism in the military is riding a bike, if you get what I mean. And you do get these females, you can say. Obviously I can only talk from a male perspective because I was in a all male unit. But you do get these girls kind of attach themselves to the Marines, a bit like groupies, and you will get one female downtown that can we say services? I'm going to get myself in trouble, aren't I? But you know what I mean. Services a lot of the guys, and there's even girls get smuggled back onto camp, and I'll leave it to your imagination what can take place there. And then of course you get the guy that like marries one of these girls. I don't know if it's because he's kind of oblivious to what her history, or whether it's just someone that's really chuffed to bits to get married. But yeah, not necessarily going to end up in a good place, that guy. I'm just checking the comments, folks, to make sure we're still running. Okay, yeah, and these guys, believe it or not, are paratroopers, but you can see there on his lapels, he's got it's got the parachute. I think that's a plane behind it, so wings, right? You don't actually see them do a jump in this. I think you just see them go up in their equivalent of the Hercules. Could somebody put below the video, if you can, if the comments is open, what their aircraft would be, as in their cargo aircraft, or the one that they parachute from, and also that helicopter. I thought it was called the Hind. I think Anton thought it might have been called something different, but it's a stunning helicopter. We'll have another look before we leave the video. We'll have another look at it, because it looks so futuristic. You've got to remember, Russia had one of the biggest budgets, if not the biggest budget, probably alongside the United States, if not more, for their military. It really was a kind of Cold War scenario. So okay, so the guys, they've all bonded, they've done their training, it's all got rough, they're meeting the girl. What's next? Bit of shooting on the range. I think it's this guy who's an artist, so he likes painting, right? I think everyone laughed at him in the beginning. But ironically, being able to paint is probably a better skill than you're going to learn in your whole career in the Marines if you stay like I did as a general duties Marine. Had I been able to paint something when I came out, even if it was someone's door, I would have earned I would have earned a lot more money than I did. So there we go, Mr. Turner. Yeah, the Hind, I thought it was, right? It's a gunship, isn't it? And that term gunship really sums it up, doesn't it? Okay, let's start moving on, guys. Okay, they're all I think you can guess what's happening there. Won't play that too much because I don't want to get some kind of warning, but here they are. I think they're going to do their drop. I'll stop there because you don't actually see them jump, but there used to be a rumour that the Russians had tried testing flying the plane low and then just throwing the troops out without parachutes. I think it was into snow. That was the rumour. I'm not saying it happened, but that was the rumour when I served. It was that the Russians had tested flying down low in their, whatever their equivalent of the Hercules. Is it Antov? Antov 12. Thank you. So bringing the Antov down and then getting the guys to jump out. But maybe that's us just trying to create a bad name for our enemy, right? Now, next bit I'm going to bring you on to is right. So they're now out in the field. They've joined their troop or their company. They've been positioned on this mountaintop. So this is their base, their compound, so to speak, and they've got to protect it at all costs. The idea you have a compound obviously on a mountain, probably self-explanatory, but if you don't know, it's obviously so you can dominate the ground. You can have your heavy weapons up there, artillery, mortars, machine guns. Obviously you can have your observation posts with your binoculars or your lookout posts, and you can see the area all around, and then that way you can, or the idea is you can stop your enemy moving around. Back in this day and age would have been the early days of night vision goggles, which probably weren't all that effective back then, if indeed they even had them. But of course, when you come from training, the other thing that's happening here is they're meeting seasoned veterans. Already some of the veterans have gone home, and one of the guys gave his medallion to our hero dude and went, "Look, this looked after me my whole tour." And he gave it to the guy, got on the aircraft to leave, and of course the aircraft was brought down by a RPG, rocket propelled grenade, by the Taliban, right? So this guy was vaporized in front of our dude's eyes. So he's put this, basically the guy shouldn't have given his medallion away before leaving the country. So this guy's got the medallion and he's using it as a talisman to keep him alive. Here they're meeting guys that they're going to be working with, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be news from home. It's going to be a bit of you're the young guys, you're the sprogs. We're probably going to bully you a bit or put you in your place, or you're the guy that's going to go and make the wets, so the tea and coffee, that kind of thing. Do the uncomfortable stag duty, so the dark hours on watch. There's one bit I just want to get to. Oh, gone a bit fast. Hang on, bear with me. Oh, hang on, 154. It was this bit, folks. So again, they're in an incredibly stressful situation. Just like in Vietnam when they were smoking the weed and smoking heroin and getting drunk whenever they could. These guys are letting off steam in their spare time, and they all kind of secretly know it could be the last time they get a chance to party, right? The bit I actually wanted to get you was really kind of poignant. So that guy, he's doing the speech. You know what's going to be in the speech, right? Things are getting hot. More enemy have been seen, reported by intelligence, that kind of thing. Things are getting serious, and as such, they all have a knees up. it's a really wonderful bit of production, this, and direction. It really captures young men that have bonded, they fought together, they're willing to die together. Right. Okay, before the Hollywood police come and drag me up, I'm gonna just talk through this. So here's our, can you still hear us okay? Here's our artist chap, and he's gonna spin out and do some painting. He's looking for a spot to paint. There we go, he's found a spot. Got a beautiful vista to transpose. Is that a word? And look behind him. I don't know how much of this I can play, but yeah, I'm just going to play that much because I think you get the picture, right? This is where this intense battle kicks in, and these guys that are then just fighting for their life. Everything kicks off. And they just, it's what you call, they're fighting to not be overrun. So they're putting mortars down. They're getting through magazine after magazine with their Kalashnikovs. Sorry, I can only do it in little bites, guys, but there we go. It's all getting hand to hand. There we go. If I fast forward it slow enough. So now you just got a handful of guys left. I'm not sure if they've got comms and they can't call for reinforcements, or whether they're waiting for praying reinforcements. Did I say Taliban? Sorry, Mujahideen. Thanks, Brooke. But yeah. In fact, it's interesting history, isn't it? The kind of I don't know, we call it resistance, but because you had the Western Alliance, which was cultivated by the Americans, was it not? And was it not a lot of the Western Alliance that went on to form, or allegedly form, Al Qaeda? Or have I got that wrong? Anyway, these guys, there's a handful of them left. It's not looking good. Our hero is going to take charge of this situation because all the officers are dead. And here we go again. Look at that. Look how many combatants are lying dead everywhere, and look how many are still charging into their position. Along come the Hind. Hopefully they're going to well, hopefully for the Russians, they're going to pick off these enemy fighters, but of course what they're doing, they're going to fire straight into the position as well, aren't they? Dan, thank you ever so much, sir. That is really kind of you. So yeah, they're going to be firing at, it's blue on blue, isn't it? They're going to be firing at their own men, and that's exactly what happened. And by the time we get to the other side of this battle, it's just our man left, and you can see he's still wearing the talisman that his Oppo, who got blown up when he was flying home, gave him. And I think he doesn't want that talisman anymore because here come reinforcements. He doesn't want the talisman anymore because everybody that he joined up with, all his mates, all the guys that he's fought with, they're all dead. And he obviously doesn't want to be alive. And now you can see he's thrown the pendant away. And that's kind of it, folks. Should have given a spoiler alert, I guess. But just as they've lost all their men defending that position, that commander rocks up and goes, "It's all for no good. The Soviets are leaving Afghanistan. We're out of here now." So he's got the double horror of all of that was for nothing, that they could all have gone home. And that's it. And now you see our man as a seasoned veteran with his war scars and a few of his what do you call those, lapel pins. And yeah, that's it, folks. Thank you for watching. Let's take a few questions, shall we? Von meinen Vater. That, I'm guessing that means for my father. Okay. Let me just move my studio around. Dun dun dun. So what do we think of that, folks? What an amazing film. I suggest you all try and get hold of a copy. And then depending on how you get hold of a copy, you might have to get hold of some subtitles. But yeah, incredible. Absolutely incredible. The cinematography was just spot on. The acting was superb. Sorry, some of you keep texting me very kindly. Hello, brother. Thank you for that. That's Anton. So yeah, what a superb film. The quality of it was amazing. They've really done credit to what was obviously a disgusting conflict, as all conflict is. Tore a lot of people apart, obviously on both sides. Yeah, phenomenal, just phenomenal. Again, it's more watching these films for an appreciation of what men and women have to go through in conflict, as opposed to the glorifying of war. And I'm sure many of you are mature enough and have already taken that on board, right? So if you've got any questions, friends, put them in capitals. Thank you so much to everybody, including Dan there, for chipping something into the pot. It's really appreciated. Yeah, obviously Afghanistan's one of the biggest producers of opium. And it's funny, there was a time in my life I would never have thought that our wonderful rulers, can you say, would ever be interested in a crop like opium. And how wrong was I, right? As many of us are finding out. Yeah. Training in Uzbekistan. Thank you, Gareth. And I guess all the geography and the borders were different then, weren't they? Dun dun dun. Just spinning through the comments. Have I ever worked with South African Special Forces? No. I only worked my contact with the British Special Forces was fairly limited. Only down to like a handful of occasions. And I guess it depends when you hit those guys up to how much sort of hands-on experience they've had, isn't it? Because the the South African Special Forces have been involved in a lot of the conflict throughout the continent. So the wars for the colonial wars, so the wars for independence, and then of course the civil wars, where once you get rid of the colonizer, then you get infighting in the country, like Angola and also Mozambique, where I worked, and I believe South African troops have been involved in several conflicts in the continent. Yeah, that Netflix thing, I don't want to use the P word on here, it's just awful, but my God, these people are mental, aren't they? If you don't know what I'm on about, it's this film Cuties. What the fuck? I'd be fucking fuming. Well, I mean, I'm fuming anyway, as you can tell, but if I had a little girl and she had to watch that shit on fucking television, so some sicko in Hollywood can get his rocks off, whoa. Yes. Okay, I'm going to come to the end, folks. Peaceful, thank you very much, friend. You are very generous always. That's Peaceful's chipped in some money. Thank you, mate. Made a what do you call it? Donation, super chat. I've got Brooke here. Brooke, thanks for managing the chat, mate, as always. And Tony, there's Tony too. Tony 66, that is. What's my opinion on the USA funding and training the Mujahideen and then turning them into their enemies after events in New York? Yeah, what a pertinent question. Listen, I won't profess my history's like right on the ball with all this, but it doesn't have to be. All war is a lie, all of it. You're never going to know the truth, right? You don't know who's funding each side. You don't know who's supplying the arms, the weapons. We had the situation, didn't we? Was it in Afghanistan where I don't want to use the kind of names just because I think this video's going to be flagged enough times, right? But it's like this. We had the situation where the alleged enemy, I say alleged because unless you're there, you don't know. I mean, all those videos, those really gruesome videos, were kind of clearly like studio quality, weren't they? And I've even found clips of those videos. You know the videos I'm on about, the not very nice ones, where they had a green screen behind them in a studio, right? And then of course you don't know if the photo you're seeing is genuine. But yeah, those alleged enemy all had brand new Toyota pickup trucks, didn't they? Well, where do you think they got them from, right? You don't get too many brand new Toyota pickup trucks in a underdeveloped country like Afghanistan. So it's all a game, like I said, to this sicko elite. They fund both sides. They revel in death. They love it. They love getting that power, seeing massacres going on. To them, in their mind, they're soaking up all that negative energy. But perhaps that's a discussion for another day. But you've got to remember, folks, it's not the USA, is it? It's individuals like this Babylonian money mafia that you'll hear me talk about, that have been doing this for thousands of years. Prior to what happened in New York, clearly, just look at the Bush cabinet or whatever you call an American. Just look at the individuals in it. Look at the ones that were clearly the architects of 9. That one, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's not hard to see that the government was just infiltrated, wasn't it? That's how within 20 minutes of those towers coming down, they're on the national media saying, it's this guy who did it, it's this guy. It's like, what, with no air crash investigation, no forensic investigation, no criminal investigation, what, how and it's a private individual. It's not, It's a shit show. It's time people woke up and started seeing it for what it is, instead of you get one life. Why do you want to go through it blindfold and not see all this stuff? If you don't know your enemy, you can't fight, and if you can't fight, then you're not much good. And by fight, I mean, the heroes these days are the digital warriors, aren't they? Okay, that's it. So I'm going to get out of here. I think, what have we done? We've gone on for an hour. Thank you ever so much for all the subscribers, everyone that's been here for the 100 podcasts. Thanks for bearing with me while I've waffled my way through this reaction video. I guess it's going to have to be a bit, if YouTube let me leave it up, then I'm going to have to crop that bit out, aren't I? But hiya, Blake. But yeah, folks, if you could like and subscribe, and consider joining the Patreon for £2 a month. I hope the knowledge that you get just from that video is worth £2 alone, because this is stuff that's taken me 50 years to learn, and yeah, I hope you get your money's worth out of it. So that's it. Once again, thanks to Brooke and Tony for managing the chat. Dear love to my brother Anton for putting me onto this amazing film. Let's see each other soon.